Good evening, YouTube. This is GunFunZS. What I've got here is a quick tip on how to reload Buckshot faster. Now, some of the details may vary. The idea is basically simple, though. What I've got here is a number 4 Buckshot in a canister that they sell airsoft BBs in. I have a fairly ratty, because it's used, bit of motorcycle fuel hose. I think this was 5/16 fuel hose, taped to the spout, and what that does is help me to snap in and line this up. Then I tip this, and when you get the feel for it, you can usually do one quick motion and get this whole thing full. I kind of knew on camera, and that gives me my measured out 22 pellets in one thing. I have this hose with a screw in it, so I can adjust the depth. I experimented with this with a bunch of different hose types, and what I found was with the smaller diameter Buckshot, they're much more likely to stagger. I think you can see in this clear hose that they're staggered, and it's not very hard for it to stagger more than one diameter of shot, which means your count will be off by a pellet. So it's actually pretty critical what hose you use. The bigger the pellet size, the less prone it is to that error. This specific hose I found at an Ace Hardware, and I'll see if I can make these come in focus. But I will read this out. It's 7/16 OD times 5/16 ID, vinyl, block 164, serial number 048643-025622, first, 7/10/12. Now, what I found was that for some reason I would have expected hard tube to work better. I tried a whole bunch of different nominal internal diameters, and most of them didn't work out right. So you will have to experiment and verify through multiple repetitions that your stack produces the count that you want every time, and you may need to adjust the nozzle of your canister to get this to fill out with your right number of pellets at any time. Obviously, making the tube longer, or in this case running the bolt in and out, will adjust the number of pellets you get. And I have this dummy cartridge made with the wad seated at the appropriate height. So in practice, I would have these in front of my press and off to the left. I would do the first, deprime, prime, dump the powder, seat the wad, pull it out, grab this with my left hand and this with the right hand, and I can kind of snap it in and do one smooth pour that will fill it. Sometimes you have to do a shake, but you sort of get to where you can do it on your first try almost every time. And then with this in my left hand, I pour, and as I'm pouring, I twist. And most often I will get a nice stack. These are number 4 buck in a wad. You'll see how they are arranged 5 with the top one on the center. These are poured in, but they stack. These are Remington field grade number 4 buck, which run just a little bit small. They're more like 0.22 in diameter. And you need one more tool on hand, a dowel. In this case, I have this pen that's a nice diameter to push in, because every once in a while one will not want to seat nicely. Well, let's get that in shot. So just push in, and oh look, that's real nice to crimp. And you will need to vary your recipe if you're using a different size of pellet or a different type of hose or different load data. You may need to mess around with this to come up with right. Even if you were doing stack shot just as a fast and reliable way to count them, this is faster than some of the other tricks I've seen, such as trimming a primer tray to have only a certain number of pockets exposed and scooping with that. So anyway, there's my quick tip. I find that I can load Buckshot quite quickly and consistently with this method. It took me a bit of experimenting. At one point I tried to make a dispenser, but that proved to be rather finicky, and this bottle, which was a sort of quick and dirty way of approximating it, has worked so well I haven't been motivated to get back on fixing the more thoroughly made dispenser system. So, there you go. GunFunZS out, and see me on the ReloadersNetwork.com.